All right, hey guys, welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name's Curtis, and today we're gonna be talking about one of my favorite fragrance houses, which is the house of Labo. Are you guys familiar with the house of Labo? You know, they are a house that I neglected for such a long time. And there's a few reasons why I neglected this house. Number one, because I realized I was being a fragrance snob, 100% hands down. And that's probably the main reason. Yeah, I saw Labo as being kind of like a hipster house, and that's a reason why I just completely avoided their fragrances and, you know, just pretty much discredited the house because I was like, oh, you know, it's a bit mainstream, you know, it's kind of a hipster vibe. Like, yeah, I just kind of want to stay away from them. And that, you know, was just such a, I don't know, it was a ridiculous reason for avoiding the house. I was almost like punishing the fragrances and the art behind these fragrances because of the name. And you know, it was just a ridiculous thing to do. And I've realized throughout the course of my fragrance journey that there have been also a few other times that I've done this in regards to other houses. The other reason was because I knew how expensive Labo fragrances were. So I was just like, oh, you know, I don't even want to touch that. But I would say, you know, over the course of this past year is when I really kind of gave Labo a chance, and I discovered that they have some really, really amazing fragrances. And one fragrance in particular is a 10 out of 10 for me, and I'll talk about that fragrance in the video. But, you know, it just kind of, you know, was a huge lesson for me. And it's something I guess I kind of knew, but something I just kind of, it was one of those things that was difficult for me to kind of push through mentally. The fact that, oh yeah, it's kind of, Labo's kind of mainstream, you know, I don't want to be a part of that kind of hipster crowd. Like, it was just so stupid to think that way. So yeah, you know, once I really gave Labo a chance, I saw that they really do have some amazing fragrances. And I mean, if you can justify that price for yourself, you know, you have to make that own decision for yourself, whether Labo is a justifiable house for you or not. But for me, they definitely are. And one thing that I really like about Labo is the sizes that they offer. The bottle sizes. So they do have 100 mil, 50 mil, and 15 mil bottle sizes. So I think for me going forward, you know, I think I will kind of probably get 15 mil bottles just because, you know, I do wear different fragrances each day, and it takes me a long time to kind of go through fragrances. I'll never purchase a 100 ml bottle. You know, I'll always opt for the smaller option when available. And I've said this many times on the channel. One is because of the space that I have, and two is because I do wear different fragrances every day. So for me to kind of go through like a 50 ml, it takes me a long time. I have gone through 50 mils, but 15 mil is like the perfect size for me. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the house. So the first fragrance we'll be starting out with is, for me, in my mind, this is a perfect 10 fragrance. I was blown away the first time I smelled this fragrance. And yeah, this just left such an impression on me. I feel like it's such a unique take on tea. So the first fragrance we'll be looking at is Noir 29. Man, this is such a gorgeous, kind of fresh, slightly spicy tea fragrance. My image of this is if I'm looking at like a lake, and on top of the lake are these tea leaves. I dive in that water, I'm swimming underwater, and I'm able to still smell, and I'm looking up and I'm seeing these tea leaves, and the scent from those tea leaves is filtering through the water. And while I'm swimming, I'm able to smell it. That's what this fragrance gives me. It gives me that feeling of fresh water that's tea scented. That's what I get here. It's such a refreshing take on tea. Man, This is one of those fragrances that I feel like it's very versatile. I mean, this is a 3-season fragrance for me. Fall, winter, spring is when I tend to really hit this one. And you can see, if you don't know about Labo fills their fragrances all the way up to the top. So you can see I've already started to put a dent in this fragrance. That's how much I love it. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about my spray routine too. So my spray routine is different with each one of these fragrances. With Thé Noir, this is quite potent on my skin, and I get, you know, a good 8 to 9 hours of longevity with this fragrance. And in terms of its projection, I mean, this is pushing out quite heavily. I do about 6 sprays with this one. That's all I need. And, you know, when I wear this one to work, or when I did wear this one to work, I got a ton of comments. Not necessarily compliments, but like people were like, "Oh wow, Curtis, what are you wearing today?" Those types of comments. So it definitely pushes out, and people can pick this one up. You know, I do know that other people have, you know, different experience with this fragrance. Maybe they don't get the best performance, but I definitely do. I get great performance out of this one. But yeah, I think in terms of its overall smell, this one is quite unique, and I don't really have another fragrance that smells quite like this in my collection. And I'm a huge fan of tea. I do have other tea fragrances that I absolutely love. Russian Tea by Mas Milano, amazing. Very realistic take on tea. But like I said, this is a more kind of a fresh, kind of watery take. It is quite a bit spicy as well, but absolutely gorgeous. 10 out of 10, definitely one to check out from the house of Labo. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Thé Noir 29 by Labo. All right, next we are going to a summer banger for me. This is Bergamont 22. Man, so this is one that I got, let's see, back in May 26th to be exact. I knew summer was rolling around. This is one that I sampled. I think when I bought Thé Noir 29, they gave me like a 1 ml sample of Bergamont 22, and I sampled that one. I was like, oh my God. The citruses are done amazingly well in this fragrance. You know, the citruses here are very plump, juicy, a bit zingy, quite zesty. You also have a bit of greenness in here. I think there's some petitgrain. There's a bit of vetiver. The vetiver is not dominant, but it's just adding a slight green kind of touch to this fragrance. The petitgrain's contributing to that as well. And then I think you have a bit of orange blossom, and I think that orange blossom in here is almost adding like a soapy-like quality to this fragrance. And then when you push into the dry down, you're getting that nice musk that you'll find in a lot of Labo fragrances, and that really starts to push forward in here. Now with this one, in comparison to Thé Noir, with Thé Noir, like I was saying, I do about 6 sprays. With this one, I'm heavy-handed, and let me tell you, I do anywhere from like 15 to 20 sprays with this fragrance. And you're probably thinking, Curtis, are you crazy? You live in Japan. 10 to 20 sprays? Hey man, like, yes, 10 to 20 sprays. This is one of those fragrances, it's so non-offensive, and it's not a beast or anything with its performance. You know, it's a moderate performer, but with 10 to 20 sprays, I find that I'm able to really extend the longevity, and I can get, you know, through the workday with this fragrance. And again, it's not something that's pushing out like extremely heavily. It's not a beast mode scent. It's moderate in terms of its performance. But yeah, I found when I do, and I like, it's the summertime, right? And also it is very hot and humid here, so you're constantly sweating. So, you know, I go a bit heavier handed with citrus fragrances in the summertime. So yeah, this is one that I definitely hit hard, and you can see I've definitely started to put the dent in this one as well. And that's one of the reasons for me with Bergamont 22 especially, where I was trying to justify the bigger bottle size, the 50 ml versus the 15 ml bottle size. I knew in the summer, in the way that this fragrance performed, that I was probably going to go a bit heavy-handed with this one. So I knew that if I got the 15 ml, I'd probably burn through it quite quickly. So yeah, I was able to justify the 50 ml for myself. I mean, you have to make those decisions for yourself, and being able to justify the cost. So that's the way I was able to do that for my own. I knew how how I was going to be wearing this fragrance in the summertime here. But this is a gorgeous one, definitely one of the best citrus fragrances in my collection. And you guys know I speak about the House of Paris Monte Carlo a lot, and really kind of have a lot of respect for that house, for their fragrances, but also especially for their citrusy fragrances. I feel like they do citruses, they're the best in the game when it comes to citrus based fragrances, but Bergamont 22 is right up there with them. I mean, this is a gorgeous, like just beautifully done, citrusy heavy fragrance. Man, definitely want to check out if you like citrus fragrances, and you know, you want something that'll help you feel just kind of refreshing, cool, and something that, you know, is perfect for those humid temperatures. Bergamont 22 is where to go. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Bergamont 22 by Labo. Next up is one of the first fragrance that I ever purchased from the House of Labo. We have Another 13. So yeah, this fragrance I purchased in February of this year. So this was my first purchase from the house, and you guys can see I've definitely put the dent in there. Another 13 is gorgeous. You know, I wear this one on its own a lot, but I also use this one as like a layering tool, and I'll layer this one with Bergamont 22. This one you'll get a nice little dose of pear in here, but this fragrance functions as more like a molecule style fragrance. So, you know, the way that this comes off is just very clean. Not, I want to say fresh, but it's more of just like clean, almost like in a fabric softener type of way, which is kind of weird. It's difficult for me to kind of explain this fragrance because this one does function as like a molecular style of fragrance. So it's like some people will be able to pick up on this, some people won't. And I would say when I first got this, I was able to smell it, but over time, my nose has been kind of trained and I can pick up on this even more. And I just like how this one blends with my skin. And this is one that I have received compliments from at work. People have said, "Oh wow, Kurtz, what are you wearing? Man, that smells really good." So I feel like this one, the way that this one just blends with my skin chemistry and the way that it pushes off, is a smell that I absolutely love, and I feel like the people around me do enjoy it as well. But yeah, this is a beautiful one. If you're, you know, in the market for a molecular style of fragrance that isn't going to be, you know, you want to wear something a bit more minimal. You know, you don't want to offend people. This is a great one. And for people who are coming to Japan, if you're looking for a fragrance that can work really well here, Another 13 is one of those fragrances. Bergamont 22 is a great one, you know, if you're coming here in the summertime. But Another 13, man, this is one that's so versatile. You can wear it any place, anywhere, any season. You know, this one works a treat. But I do feel like this one really shines in the spring and the summer. When you have that heat, I think it's really helping this fragrance to kind of push off a bit. And that's what I really, really love. But like I said, I do also wear this one layered with like Bergamont 22. I'll layer this one with some other citrus fragrances from Paris Monte Carlo, and it just works perfectly. But yeah, this is a great one and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Another 13 by Labo. All right, next we're going into one of my favorite lavender fragrances in my collection. This is Leavon 31. So yeah, as you can see here, this is just a little 15 ml bottle, but I have put quite the dent in this one. I think I got about half of the bottle left here. I've been hitting this one so hard. Man, this is just such a creamy, smooth, fresh take on lavender. This is just purple freshness. If I had to assign this one a color, it would be purple with a bit of blue sprinkled in too, but not blue in the aquatic sense, but blue in like sky. This makes me think of just like almost like a clear summery day in the spring. That's the vibe that this one gives me. Now, I wore this fragrance right here to the wedding I went to down in Fukuoka in May. One of my friends got married down there, so I actually chose and I wore this fragrance and it went over so well. And I told this story before too. when I was, once I had arrived at the wedding, I was signing in, and the girl that was checking in, she was also a guest at the wedding, and she was helping accepting guests. And after the reception, after the wedding ceremony, at the reception, I actually sat by her, and she was telling me, oh wow, when you came up and you were signing in, I was like, man, you smell really good. And so she was asking what I was wearing, and I told her Leavon 31. So yeah, and also the bride also had said that I smelled nice. It was a nice choice for me. But yeah, this is just a very kind of professional, very modern take on a fougere, in my opinion. This is a very kind of, like I said, just fresh, very beautiful lavender in here. The lavender is done extremely well. It's not sharp, it's very smooth. And there is a very subtle creaminess to this fragrance that I absolutely love. And I feel like that creaminess is also helping to smooth out the lavender a little bit. But man, what a gorgeous wear this is. And man, in terms of lavender, this is probably one of the most beautiful smelling lavenders that I have in my collection. The only drawback to this, I just wish this fragrance lasted a bit longer. I feel like it's slightly fleeting, and I do know that that's a common complaint amongst some of the Labo fragrances, that they are a bit fleeting. And I wouldn't argue that. I feel like some of them definitely are, and this is one of them. So I think with my spray routine with this one, I do about 10 sprays with this. And when I do about 10 sprays or so, that's when I feel like it really helps to extend the longevity with this fragrance. This isn't a screamer. This is a moderate performer. So this isn't gonna like fill a room or anything like that. In fact, none of these will do that. But yeah, when I do about 10 sprays or so with this one, yeah, it works a treat. And like I said, the feedback from this one is great. People tend to really like this one. If you're looking for like a professional style of fragrance that works well in many situations, this will work perfectly in the office. I do wear this one to work quite often as well. Not so much now because we're in the summer. I like to wear this one more like fall, springtime. This one works a treat, especially spring. That's when I hit this one really hard. But yeah, this is a beautiful one and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Leavon 31 by Labo. And finally, we have Eucalyptus 20. Yeah, so this one, man, this is one of those scents that I wear for myself. This is a scent that puts my mind in a certain place. Like this scent puts my mind in nature when I'm alone. I don't want to have any social media. I don't want to be around anybody. I just want to be kind of alone with my own thoughts. This is a scent of tranquility. There's something very calming about this scent. This is a very camphorous, kind of green, incensey. I think there's some frankincense in here. Very, very woody, earthy fragrance. This is a fragrance built for nature. If you're going hiking in the woods or, somewhere out, in the mountains where you can just appreciate the environment around you, this is that style of fragrance. Yeah, this is one I remember thinking when I had sampled this one so many times before I actually made the purchase. And when I sampled it, I remember I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but a Japanese term or phrase popped into my mind, which is ichigo ichie, and that is a yoji jukugo, and it basically means once in a lifetime experience. And when I smelled this, I immediately thought of that word because that's the way that this fragrance made me feel. And it almost kind of, in a weird kind of deep, cheesy way, and I'm not trying to get too deep or kind of cheesy with this, but it made me kind of take a step back of kind of where I'm at in my life, and just kind of made me think of like, hey man, you need to slow down, appreciate kind of the world around you, appreciate each moment that you're in, because this one life is all that you have. And why this fragrance made me kind of think those thoughts, I'm not sure, but that's where my mind kind of went. So this is a fragrance that I wear for me and no one else. This is a fragrance sometimes where I'll also spray on before I go to bed, because there's just a very comforting kind of sense to this that, like I said, it just helps me feel relaxed and kind of at peace with my inner thought. Yeah, I don't know. This is a special one for me. And just kind of touching on the note of eucalyptus, my nose is not so experienced with the note of eucalyptus. I do have some other fragrances with this note, but I can't say that I'm so good at picking it out in fragrance yet, just because I'm just not so experienced with the note. But other people who are talking about this fragrance who might be more experienced, they might be able to say, oh yeah, man, this fragrance has a heavy dose of eucalyptus in it. But for me, like I said, I'm just not so experienced with that particular note, so I can't necessarily say I can pick up on it so much. But man, this one is a special one for me, and this is one that I'll always have in my collection. But I would say in terms of seasonality with this is one that I feel like will fit perfectly in the fall and in the winter time. The cooler months is when this fragrance I feel like will come alive. We're in the summer here, so obviously I'm not wearing it, but I do still have those times where I'm spraying it on before I go to bed, just because, like I said, it just puts me in a certain place, helps me feel relaxed, and just kind of at peace with my inner thought. So yeah, this is a special one for me, and definitely one that I'm excited to wear in the cooler months, out and about, in the fall and winter. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Eucalyptus 20 by Labo. All right, guys, so yeah, those are the 5 Labo fragrances that I do have in my collection currently. And, there is one more fragrance from the house that I would like to add very soon. That is Ylang 49. That is kind of a very classic take on kind of like a chypre style of fragrance. It's extremely well done. I absolutely love the wearing experience of that one, and I have sampled that one quite a few times. I did receive a 1 ml sample from Labo, but I have sampled that one in the store, and that will be my next purchase from the house of Labo. Stunning one, that one. So after I do purchase that one, I'll probably purchase that one probably in the fall, because that's when I feel like I'll be able to give that one a lot of wearings. But yeah, that will be my next purchase. It's a beautiful one. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content, and let me know down in the comments section, what are your thoughts on the house of Labo, and do you have any favorites from the house? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Well, I hope you guys are staying healthy and well, and I'll see you in the next video.